Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. So that 8 o'clock kind of came and gone, but I am here now. I'm excited to be here. And this is day one of our discussion of That's the Story of My Life. Hello, Pamela. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. So just to tell you a little bit about what it is I'm doing. What's up, Whitney? I am a person who I think I've always had depression. Like I don't remember a time when I didn't suffer from depression. And like most of my life, most of my days, I sit really, really low. Like I mean low, low. So I can even remember a time. Hey, Rochelle, I can even remember a time, and this is probably about 11, maybe 15 years ago, where I actually went to a therapist and we just discussed that I didn't even have any good memories. So, if you know how old I am, you know I was well into adulthood. And I just didn't have any good memories because even when things went well, even when it was like a fun time, my mind would only pick up on the negative thing that happened. You know, somebody was disrespectful, somebody, rolled their eyes at me, my kids were tripping, like whatever it could be the smallest, most minute thing in the world. But when someone would bring up, oh, you remember we went to Disney World? Or, oh, you remember when, we went to the fair? And my mind would immediately go to the negative thing that happened. And I would try to pretend and play it off like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. You know what I mean? But I literally didn't have any good memories. So I've been diagnosed with some other things, and we'll kind of move forward with that as we go. But I just wanted to do this because we're hearing more and more about our young people actually, taking their own lives. And I was going to wait until after I read the story, but I can remember when I was in elementary school, when I was in like third and fourth grade, the boys in my class, they talked about me every day. I mean, every day they had to tell me how dark I was, how nappy my hair was, how big my lips were. I mean, like it was constant every day. And that was like for 2 years, third and fourth grade. And I can even remember thinking like, since you're with these people all the time, like, oh, they gotta kind of like me, you know what I mean? Like they can't really dislike me or, that kind of thing. And I just remember like the last day of school, I had on like this scarf and I remember this like it was yesterday. And like they were pulling the scarf one into the other, like choking me. And I was like, and it took that for me to be like, oh my goodness, they're really not my friends. So even despite the fact that they felt it necessary to, talk about me and tell me how ugly I was and, just, call me all these different kind of names and everything like that, you still want to hold on to the thought that, somebody, likes you or cares about you or, something. But my point behind that is even at that time when I don't know how old you are, what you're like 7, 8, 9 years old, I don't know. But I probably knew what suicide was, but I didn't have any, and not to say even if I did that it would be something that I would have done. I mean, it made me sad that they talked about me and I would look in the mirror and I would think, oh dang, I'm not that ugly. But it definitely has carried on my whole life. So I've never like my phenotype typically is not like top of the chart, as far as males, as far as African American males, period. And I've been told that, like periodically throughout my whole life. So it's definitely something, that sticks with you when you're at that age and someone tells you something like that. But not to say that I feel like at that time I would have tried to commit suicide, but I just had no concept of suicide. Like I probably knew what it was, but I couldn't wrap my mind around it being something that I could actually do. Like it could be an exercise that I could actually go through with. So it was kind of like thinking in terms of, back in the day, people say, you can dig your way to China. And I used to kind of think that too, like, oh, what? Can you dig your way to China? So, you like look at the ground and you're like, well, wait a minute, I can't really dig my way to China because, I would have to dig so much. And how would I get to China? So suicide was that same concept to me. It would have been like the same thing, like, oh, suicide. Okay. But how do you do that? Like, I don't understand, how I would move forward or, do that process or anything. But now, we all love social media. I mean, I'm here on social media right now with the ability to connect to all of you. Thank you, Judge Terry. What's up, Brother Noah, Angel, Alex, Moochie? What's up? I'm so glad you guys are all here, and it means the world to me. And I do hope you share this. And we love social media. We love posting pictures and going live and getting likes and different things like that. However, it's when you can't disconnect from the draw to start comparing yourself, comparing your life to other people. Some people you may know, and some people you never met, from Adam, but everybody just seems more accessible now. Even, movie stars and musicians and, reality stars. Everybody is so much more accessible. Whereas, growing up, there was a big distance from me and a movie star, from me and a Richard Pryor. They were far off somewhere else doing their thing, and it was amazing to get to see them. And you might have a desire to, do those same type of things, but there wasn't a thought, there wasn't a concept of, oh, that person's doing that. Why aren't I doing that? Or why isn't that happening for me? Where I think now, we live in an age where, that becomes the problem. And that's why I wrote this story, All That Glitters. And this is one of the last stories that I wrote. I actually think it was the second to last thing that I wrote for the book. And, I just wanted to do something, pertinent that young people hopefully could definitely relate to. So we're on page 52, and this is All That Glitters. And I'm just going to take a sip here. Oh, and I'm going to scroll down on here too, because let me see who else. Okay, Cy and Ebony and Stacy, David, Angela, Nicole, Michael, Cherie. Thank you all so much for hanging out. All right, let's get it. All That Glitters. Parker felt numb. The distance between her, the bed, and the door appeared monumental. She turned her head to the right and looked downward to survey the space between herself and the floor. That, too, was dangerously far. Time passed like pages, turning with things to do left undone, and people to see left unseen. However, the thoughts paused, were reread, rehearsed, highlighted, and translated into foreign tongues. So Parker sunk back into the covers and allowed the thoughts to continue their assault on her mind, body, and spirit. Tomorrow was her ally. No matter how unreliable, it would show up sure as day, but somehow Parker still felt forced to do all the planning, put in all the effort, make the moves big and small. What exactly was it good for again? Today was an arrogant asshole, taunting, shaming, blaming, laughing hysterically. But yesterday was always there to cuddle. No, my child, just think, lay back and reminisce on days past. So that's what she did. As the yesterdays piled up, the tomorrows got fewer, and today began ignoring her existence. a friend to talk, a business meeting, an event would help. Parker patted the clouds of covers and puffs of pillows around her in search of her phone. She reached between the intricate layers to extract it from its burrow. Parker scrolled through her social media. She hadn't posted for over a month, but she had thousands of messages, comments, updates, invites, and tags. She felt her heart's pace quicken and intentionally, meticulously logged out of each app. She checked her missed calls, saw she had numerous voice messages that she couldn't bring herself to listen to, and then she checked her text messages. There was a red carpet event tonight. Parker only needed to make 2 calls, one to her assistant apologizing for firing him, and one to her agent telling him she was back open for business, show business. Parker felt her body shift swiftly, her legs leveled down to the floor, and she was up stretching. But then today laughed. You haven't actually moved. She picked up the phone and placed the 2 calls. The buzz of the door startled her. She reached over and grabbed the gadget that showed who was at the door and electronically unlocked it. How did Tony get here so quickly? She looked at the time and 2 hours had passed. She must have dozed off again. Parker didn't know why she felt so embarrassed. They had been through this routine so many times before. Oh my goodness, Tony shouted in the hopes that Parker could hear him from behind the closed door with the shower running. I don't know how one person can achieve a monumental mess in such a short time. Tony donned a mask, gloves, and carried 2 trash bags. He began shoveling clothes, dirty, clean, and with tags into one, and food containers, papers, tissues, cardboard packaging, and pill and wine bottles into another. He tried not to throw away any good merch or necessary papers, but he vowed long ago to never go through this dump meticulously again. Parker didn't deserve it. She stood at the sink listening to the water in the shower run. She knew the sooner she got in, the sooner it would be over and she would have to come out and face life, currently in the form of her assistant, Tony. Parker sat on the toilet and rested. The banging at the door startled her, and she jumped up and hopped in the shower, allowing the water to engulf her body in the hopes that her mind, body, and spirit would be renewed. Parker emerged robed and refreshed. She barely recognized her bedroom. She noted to herself that she had better quit firing Tony because he may not come back again. You do know I had a good mind not to come back. Tony was still shouting at the same decibel as when she was in the shower. That last stunt you pulled was unforgivable. Parker wasn't quite sure which last stunt was the last stunt he was referring to, so she remained quiet and contemplated. Was it accidentally locking her 2 toddlers outside by the pool while she slept on the couch? Was it leaking the story that her husband was sleeping with the nanny when he really only left and took the children for the sake of their safety? Or was it berating and firing Tony for being a traitor when he continued to assist the man who was divorcing her by helping him get situated in a new place with the kids she had neglected? The door buzzer saved her from having to make a guesstimate. Parker checked the camera. It was hair and makeup. She buzzed them in. Less than an hour later, Parker was spackled and primped to perfection and unrecognizable, just like her bedroom. She hopped in the limo and listened to her agent Carl on speaker. Just tell them how excited you are to be returning for the new season of Hope in Hand, he instructed. Hope in Hand? Parker questioned. Was she losing her mind or was he? I thought we went over this, Carl. Parker shook her head demonstratively as if he could see her. I no longer want to be a part of that show. I am not returning. Carl took a deep breath and spoke in a monotone to bring her back down to reality. Look, Hope, that check is the only thing you have in hand. Remember, you are nouveau riche. And until you have some new offers come in, you'd be a fool to walk away from your livelihood, especially now that your husband is taking half. Well, isn't that what I pay you for? You can't tell me that no one has reached out to you about me. I'm a star. I'm Parker M. Summers. She snapped back. Right. And nobody wants to work with Parker M. Summers. Tony and Carl rebutted in unison with clear disdain. This time it was Parker's turn to take a deep breath. This was her first attempt at facing life in a long time, and frickin' frack were kicking her ass like she stole something. She remembered why she fired people. Okay, but this is my final season. Clearly, I need you guys' help. Parker spoke gently into the phone and glanced over at Tony in acknowledgement. You need professional help, they shouted in unison, loud enough for the driver to check his rearview mirror. Do you still have that number to the psychologist I gave you, Carl continued. Got it right here, Tony responded like the question had been directed at him while pushing his phone into Parker's view. It's on speed dial. Parker acquiesced to frickin' frack and reconciled in her mind to act her way through the rest of the evening. She took pictures, smiling and laughing with her co-stars, stated with tears in her eyes that she was working on forgiveness in reference to her marriage, and alluded to taking time away from the spotlight because her girls needed her at home. The night was a PR success, and more importantly, she looked stunning in all the photos and footage. Miles away and generations apart, Anissa scrolled through social media and saw the flawless starlet Parker Summers in her feed. She was excited to see the cast of her favorite show in real life, just hanging out together. Anissa couldn't help but feel for Parker and what she was going through with her cheating husband. But unlike many, Parker was giving her marriage her all for the sake of her children. If only she had those type of friends, strength, beauty, hell, that type of mother, her life could be so different. Anissa went to her favorite actress's page and scrolled through the pictures of her immaculate home and said a final prayer to restore her happy family. Anissa had lost all hope for herself. Her yesterdays were empty. Her tomorrows promised nothing. So today, she released her existence. Right. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me. That was the first story, day one, All That Glitters. Okay, brother, he said, you so beautiful. They was lying. You know what I'm saying? Sounds like you having a new mind, bringing 2020 with good vision. Thank you so much, King. I appreciate that. And then Rochelle says she has the same experience, too accessible. Moochie said, powerful words. Thank you so much. Hello, James. Hello, Tim. Hey, what's up, Jessica? Tanja, Ronald, Ellen, Donna. I'm so glad to see everybody on here. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm trying to scroll up a little bit more so I can see other comments. But, I guess I could use this. But definitely everyone. So that was All That Glitters. And of course, we look at people, famous people, rich people, people down the street, keeping up with the Joneses. And we always think, what's on the other side of the fence. The grass is always greener. They have some privileges. They have some miraculous beauty. I think they've been showing things recently about how much people face tune and change the way that they look in regards to the pictures and everything that they put up. And so a lot of the stuff that we see and a lot of the stuff that we get so heartbroken over and so jealous about isn't even real. It's like made up and make believe. And if we're not talking about it, then sometimes our young people, just the way I felt like, oh, okay, no, I can really dig my way to China. You know what I mean? Just like the way I thought that, they start to believe that what it is that they see is actually genuine and actually real. And sometimes when you're going through something, I mean, all the time when you're going through something, until you get some age and some wisdom on you, you start to realize and recognize this too shall pass. So you'll hear people, like my age, and we'll say this too shall pass. But when you're young and when you're going through, this too shall pass just doesn't ring. It doesn't provide a connection to your heart and to your spirit sometimes. So sometimes you need people like us, the adults in your lives, to really talk and be honest about their truth. And it's not easy. It's not easy coming on here and talking about, I got, mental illness. And again, I will talk more about, different things I've been diagnosed with and, about my family and everything like that. But we need to have these discussions. We need to let people know that mental illness and mental wellness, it's just a spectrum. And sometimes you're way over here. I don't know if this was wellness or illness. And sometimes you're way over here. Sometimes you move and sometimes you're in the middle. But there are definitely things that you can do to get help. And just starting the conversation is one thing. Therapy is another thing. Medication is a thing. There are lots of books and lots of research that you can do on mental illness. Changing your diet can be huge to make a change in your life and in your mood. So I just wanted to come on and have that discussion with you guys. This is day one, and we're just going to keep it going for 31 days, 31 ways. And I think that's it for me. I love you all. Mwah, mwah. Happy New Year. I said it like it was going to pop. Oh, yeah. And definitely, if you haven't purchased the book yet, the book is $2.99. Definitely get the ebook and you can read the rest of the stories or read along with me. I have posted all the stories that I'll be doing for this week. And then what I'll be going into next week, I'll post that at the beginning of next week or at the, day 8. So I should say it like that. And then also I'm having a book release party. I'm so excited. It's going to be my birthday party, book release, and a day party. So you are all invited. So definitely click the link to check that out. And I will see you later. Mwah, mwah. Peace.